It's recently been the school summer holidays, and like so many families, we've been on the lookout for something to do. The Erewash Museum is always a great go-to spot. It's packed with activities for children during the holidays, but it also has a fascinating history for the adults. So today, we're taking a closer look at the story behind this lovely old building and the treasures it holds. Nestled in the heart of Ilkeston in Derbyshire stands a building that has been many things over the years. A grand Georgian residence, a bustling doctor's surgery, a lively school, and now the home of the Erewash Museum. It's a treasure trove of over 15,000 historical objects, with a story that spans centuries of family, civic pride, local craftsmanship, and remarkable preservation. Let's take a look at 10 surprising facts you may not know. The museum officially opened in 1982, but the building it occupies, Dalby House, has stood for much longer. The very first known building on this site was owned by a man named John Boot back in the late 1500s. How do we know this? Well, the earliest known map of Ilkeston, drawn in 1598 by surveyor Henry Fletcher, shows a house here. That map is now kept at Belvoir Castle, home of the Duke of Rutland. What's fascinating is that the map not only gives us a glimpse of the town over 400 years ago, but it also shows the church and a house standing exactly where Dalby House stands today. So before it ever became a Georgian home, a doctor's surgery, or a school, this spot was already marked out as an important part of Ilkeston's early history. Number 2. The bankrupt heiress. In the 1780s, the house was inherited by Mary Aggard. It was Mary who brought her family to Ilkeston, but like so many women of the era, she had little control over her inheritance. The finances were handled by her husband Francis, who unfortunately made some risky choices, and in 1806 they were forced to sell the property. By the time Mary was widowed in 1820, she was left bankrupt with 2 children. A sad reminder of how precarious life could be, even for wealthy families. Number 3. Where did the name of the house come from? The answer lies with Captain John Dalby, a militia officer who bought the house in 1806. He lived here with his wife Charlotte until her death in 1812, and stayed on and off until his own passing in 1836. His name has stuck ever since, which is why we still call it Dalby House today. Number 4. What was it like visiting a Victorian doctor? The building itself evolved with its owners. In the 1860s, Dr. George Blake Norman, a practicing physician, bought Dalby House and added extensions to the front, back and side. He also ran his surgery here, and thanks to local woman Adeline Wells, we have vivid memories of what it was like. In a newspaper article, she recalled, "The surgery, which was in the yard approached from Anchor Row, was a dark, cheerless room. When I have gone sometimes on Thursday morning for medicine, I have seen women sitting on forms round the surgery, waiting for Dr. Norman, who was the public vaccinator, to vaccinate their babies." Dr. Norman always rode on horseback when visiting his patients. It's a fascinating glimpse of Victorian healthcare. By 1869, Dr. Norman's poor health forced him to retire, and he died in 1877, buried in the family vault at St. Mary's Church just next door. Number 5. The lace-making Maltbys. The next major owners were the Maltby family, who bought the house in 1888. Charles Maltby and his wife Eliza raised 6 children here. They were successful lace manufacturers with a factory in Ilkeston. Charles became mayor twice, was active in the Freemasons, and played a key role in founding Ilkeston Cottage Hospital. Under their care, Dalby House became a lively Victorian family home. Number 6. Friendship House. In 1946, the building took on a very different role. It was bought by Miss Edith Wilson as a boarding hostel for children from Michael House School. Between 1947 and 1965, it was known as St. George's House, but the pupils gave it a warmer name, Friendship House, as children from all over the world came to stay here. Number 7. A scullery saved brick by brick. When the museum was created in the early 1980s, one of its most ambitious projects was to rescue an entire Victorian scullery. A house on Prince Street in Cotmanay was due for demolition, but inside was a perfectly preserved 1876 scullery. Every single brick was labelled, dismantled and rebuilt inside the museum. Even the range was made in Ilkeston, at Rutland Works on Queen Street. It's a real treat to step inside this Victorian time capsule. Number 8. Next door to the scullery is another authentic kitchen, saved from Dalby House on Gregory Street in the 1980s. And in the same room, you'll also spot a beautiful oak press cupboard, thought to date back to the mid-1600s. It would have been quite the showpiece in its day, and was used to store clothing and bed linens. It was also a symbol of wealth and status and would have been proudly displayed in a parlour. This particular cupboard was donated by a local family in 1994. Number 9. Ancient treasures and industrial pride. The museum holds over 15,000 objects, nearly all donated by the public. Among the highlights, a 4,000-year-old flint knife found in Cotmanay, a Viking sword from Kirkhallam, and a medieval floor tile from Dale Abbey laid by monks centuries ago. Upstairs you'll also find displays on Stanton Ironworks, coal mining, and Ilkeston's wartime past. One modern highlight is the crocheted soldier, lovingly crafted by a local woman named Jilly, whose work was so admired she was even invited to a garden party at Buckingham Palace. Number 10. The garden's hidden gems. The history doesn't stop indoors. In the garden stands a recently restored urn created by Andrew Handyside and Company of Derby in 1879. The design was once shown at the Great Exhibition of 1851 at Crystal Palace. Around the bowl are the faces of Nelson, Peel, Shakespeare, Wellington, Watt, and more, a real Victorian celebration of genius. Elsewhere in the garden you'll spot black and red floor tiles, all that remains of a long-lost greenhouse, and a huge ladle that was once used at Stanton Ironworks. The museum also features the Lally Gallery, home to regularly changing exhibitions from the local community. It's this blend of local spirit, historic preservation, and community involvement that makes the Erewash Museum so well loved. Every room tells a piece of the town's story, of resilience and creativity. From ancient tools and medieval tiles, to Victorian sculleries and 1950s sweet shops, the museum is more than just a building. It's Ilkeston's memory, made visible. And thanks to the donations, dedication and love of the community, it continues to educate and inspire. Thank you for joining us today as we wandered around this lovely building. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. See you next time.